Sally, Nellie, and Kelly are hanging out at the beach. They play volleyball and have a lot of fun. But then their ball flies away into the bushes. Nellie leaves the playground to bring it back, and she never comes back. Kelly and Sally look everywhere, but Nellie is gone. They begin to panic and call the police. Detective Bold arrives quickly, finds 3 suspects, and questions them. Bill says, "I've been chilling here since morning, but I didn't notice anything." Kyle says, "I arrived here just now, so I have no idea what's going on." And Mike says, "I was diving in the sea and watching the corals." Can you figure out the kidnapper? It's Kyle. He's wearing the same cap as Nellie. It seems too small for his head. That's because Kyle kidnapped Nellie and stole her cap. Sally returns to the apartment building where she lives. Wow, there's a basket with a cute little kitten on her porch. Sally takes 2 pictures to send them to her friends. Can you spot 3 differences between them? Here they are. Sally wants to know who brought the kitten, so she interrogates her neighbors. Tom says,
"I've been playing video games since early morning. I didn't leave my place at all."
Tim says, "I've been working out and I haven't left my apartment yet." Tyler says, "I stayed home all day too. I was too busy playing basketball." Who's lying? Tyler. He's playing with a soccer ball, not a basketball. Moreover, it's pretty hard to play basketball alone inside the apartment. Sally goes to the supermarket to buy some milk for the kitten. Only these 3 packs of milk are left on the shelf. Can you help Sally choose the best option? The second milk expired 2 centuries ago, and the third milk carton is bloated, which means that it has already turned sour. Therefore, Sally should grab the first milk. Sally has been working as a cab driver for several years. One day, a police officer finds Sally unconscious in her car. Someone attacked her and stained the car with glue. The officer checks Sally's app account. Sally had quarrels with 3 clients recently, so he interrogates them. Rob says, "I took a cab to the university. When we arrived, Sally asked me to pay extra money for parking, and we had a brief quarrel, but I wouldn't put my future career at risk for a couple of dollars." Karen says, "Yesterday, I received an emergency call. My husband got to the hospital, so I needed to get there as soon as possible. But Sally was driving very slowly. That's why we had a quarrel." And Mrs. Green says, "I was returning home from the supermarket after grocery shopping. Sally asked for extra money for helping me with the bags. I didn't like it." After hearing their stories, the officer knows for sure who's guilty. What about you? Take a closer look at Sally's car. It's parked near the hospital, which means that Karen's trip was the last one before the attack. Therefore, she did it. Sally is feeling much better and she gets back to work. She needs to pick up her client at a restaurant. Her app offers 3 possible routes, but only one of them will actually bring her to the desired destination. Can you guess which one? Sally should choose the second route. Sally parks her car near the restaurant and faces the following scene. One of these ladies has a ghost mother. Can you guess who? The second lady is a ghost mother. Take a look at her mother's face. She's even younger than her daughter, which means that time has stopped for her a long time ago. Moreover, she leans over a candle without any fear of an open flame. Sally wants to visit her boyfriend Ken at his office, but the front door is locked. Can you help Sally figure out the 5-digit code? Let's take a closer look at these scratches. These are hints. All Sally needs to do is count the number of intersections. So the code is 23504. Finally, Sally gets inside Ken's lab. He shows her a spaceship from another galaxy. Ken found it and managed to repair everything except the dashboard. How should these wires be connected to make it work? Here, we see unfamiliar symbols from another galaxy. Our task is to determine which word each symbol corresponds to. These dots are put in the same places as the tails of some letters. This way, we can find a match for each word and connect the wires. Suddenly, Sally gets sick. She has a headache and a sore throat. Ken only has 4 pills that are identical to each other. They don't have any cover or instructions. So there's no way he can identify which pill serves that purpose. The only thing he knows is that 2 of these 4 pills will cure the throat and the remaining 2 will help with the headache. Sally should take 1 of each kind to heal. What should she do? The only solution available is to cut each pill in half, and then take 1/2 from each of the 4 pills. This way, she'll definitely have 1 pill of each kind. Ken offers Sally to live together. They begin to look for a new apartment and arrange 3 meetings with landlords. Each tells a story about their property. Mrs. Gray says,
I inherited this amazing apartment from my sister, but now I want to rent it for the long term because I'm moving to a farm with my husband.
Oliver says,
I've been living in this property for 5 years, and it's in perfect condition. But now I'm moving abroad for work. So I'd like to find good tenants who will take care of it.
And Rose says, This apartment belongs to my mother-in-law. She lives in Europe and asked me to find new tenants. Only one of these landlords is trustworthy. Can you guess who? There's an advertisement near Mrs. Gray's apartment. This property is for sale. Therefore, she probably lied about the long-term lease. And now, let's take a closer look at Oliver's ceiling. It's leaking. Therefore, his apartment is not in perfect condition. Liar! Sally's kitten ran away. She's been looking for her pet all day long. Suddenly, Sally meets her neighbor holding her kitten. He says, I'll give your pet back only if you crack my riddle. I'm the last thing you take off when you go to bed. What am I? Ready to hear the correct answer? I'm your feet, and you take them off the floor. Sally brings her kitten to the vet for a checkup. There, she meets 2 doctors, but only one of them is a real vet doctor. Can you spot who exactly? Real doctors usually wear gloves at work, but the guy on the left doesn't wear any, although he's holding a dog. Sally wants to get a job in a magic shop. The owner gives her a test assignment to find a love potion on this shelf. Sally is very confused because the recipes are too complicated. Luckily, Sally's possible future coworker, Glenda, agrees to give Sally a hint. She provides her with a bunch of recipes, and now Sally needs to figure out the correct one by herself. She only knows that a love potion should contain these 5 ingredients. Can you help her find the right bottle? Only the third bottle has all the required ingredients, so Sally should grab it. Sally succeeds and gets the job. Now her task is to go to the storage and find a fake mirror. Can you help her? Only the second mirror shows the correct reflection, so the remaining two are fake. Sally and Glenda get hungry and order some food. Their meals are almost identical, but in fact, they have 3 differences. Can you spot them? Here they are.
Ken went rollerblading on Sunset Avenue when he tripped over a rock. He fell down and hurt his head. It started bleeding, so the ambulance took him to the nearest doctor. As soon as Ken was allowed to have visitors, 3 ladies came inside his room saying they were Barbie. They looked pretty, so Ken got really confused. Take a look at the 3 women that say they are Barbie and see if you can figure out which one is telling the truth. It's the woman on the right. Since Barbie is a doll, she can't change her expression. If you look attentively, you'll see that the first woman is blinking, and the second woman has a wink on her face. This leaves us with the last woman, which is the one and only Barbie. After getting out of the hospital, Barbie suggested that they go get ice cream. Ken said yes, so they went to their favorite place. Barbie ordered a blue ice cream, and Ken got a green one. When they were about to eat their desserts, a stranger came next to them and said one of the ice creams was poisoned. Take a look at the image. Can you tell which ice cream isn't safe to eat? It's Ken's ice cream. Sure, it was originally green, but there's a strange smoke coming out of it. It's probably a reaction to the poison. Yikes! Sure looks like someone's after him, huh? One lovely morning, Barbie was driving to work when her sight suddenly went black. She woke up in an empty warehouse. There was nothing but 4 doors in front of her. She heard very loud noises, like there was a monster approaching. She felt like she needed to escape quickly, otherwise she would turn into the monster's dinner. The 4 doors had signs on them. The leftmost door had a sign saying, "Take the door on the right to break free." The sign on the second door said, "It's the right door." On the third door, it was written, "Freedom is just right in front of you." And the last door had a sign saying, "Don't trust the signs." Can you help Barbie? Which door should she choose? Well, there's a bit of wordplay here. Let's see why. While the first door says to take the door on the right, the second one says it's the right door. It doesn't say if it's the correct door, but the right door as in the door on the right. The third door says freedom is just right in front of you. That just doesn't make any sense, does it? You can interpret that it's pointing to the door just on Barbie's right, and that is it. She should choose the last door. It says not to trust the other signs, but it doesn't say that they are false, does it? Marjorie is the owner of an organic farm. One morning she walked inside the barn and found all of last week's production of apple juice shattered on the floor. She was devastated. This was going to cost her a fortune. She asked her employees to clean it up. Meanwhile, she took the time to interrogate them. Sean, the farm's volunteer, said that he had put all of the apple juice bottles on the shelf before heading home. He said everything seemed fine until then. Becca said she had gone home earlier than usual because she wasn't feeling well. She said she hadn't even gone inside the barn all day. Tom said he had spent the day painting the fence and also hadn't visited the barn. Can you tell who is lying? Tom is the one lying. Take a look at the fence behind them. It's definitely not painted. Linda was staying at a famous hotel where a lot of celebrities live. The glamorous building had 7 floors. 5 A-list celebrities were living on the ground floor, and 8 Hollywood stars were living on the first floor. On the second floor, there were 11 not-so-famous people. Each floor above those had 3 more celebrities living on it than the previous one. All of these people leave for work every day. Can you guess which floor calls the elevator the most? This is a tricky one. It's on the ground floor. Any person staying on a floor other than the ground floor would have to call the elevator to reach their respective floors. Brendan works in the same company as Mary. He's had a crush on her for months and has been trying to impress her in any way he can think of. That's why he decided to take part in the Brain Challenge, a contest his company organizes once a year. By saying yes, he had to answer a bunch of expert-level questions and solve some pretty difficult riddles. For the first round, he had to crack a rebus puzzle. Take a look at the piece of paper they gave him. Can you guess what the answer is? The answer was broken promises. Ooh, nice. For the next round, they took Brendan to a room full of random stuff. His task was to find a specific object. As a clue, they gave him a piece of paper that said, "What goes up when the rain goes down?" Look around and help Brendan find the object. It was that red and white umbrella over there. That makes sense, huh? Then Brendan was taken into an empty room. The room's door was sealed with a letter combination lock. He looked around and found a slip of paper with the following written on it: P plus 3, N 1, B 1, N plus 4, S plus 1. Can you help him figure out the code word? It took Brendan a while to figure it out, but he was able to crack it. The code word was SMART. The key to this riddle was hidden in the alphabet. Let's see how it works. P plus its 3 following letters is S. N, 1 letter is M, and so on. For the final round, Brendan had to solve an AI riddle. If he answered it correctly, he would win the contest's main prize and probably Amy's heart. The riddle said, "I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. What am I?" Can you guess what Brendan answered? The correct answer is echo. Dave, a chief police officer, received a call late one night. Mrs. Brown, a famous chemist from UKC, went missing from her lab. Dave spent a few hours searching her lab and found a note with random numbers. It didn't look like a study she had been doing, so Dave guessed it must be a clue about where she was. The note read 26, 3, 58, 28, 27, 57, 16. Based on the note, Dave managed to find where Mrs. Brown was. He found the culprits, arrested them all, and freed the scientist. Can you guess what was written on the encrypted note and how he understood it? Here's how he figured it out. Each number on the note corresponded to an element in the periodic table. So the element that corresponded to the number 26 is Fe, iron. The number 3 is Li, lithium. And 58 is Ce, cerium. Using this logic, the first line spelled out Felice. By the same logic, the second line spelled out Nicholas. After discovering the names, Dave must have tracked the two people down, arrested them, and discovered where they had taken Mrs. Brown. In a small town, 3 teachers went on leave all on the same day. Janet said she had gotten into a car accident and had broken her leg, so she was having difficulty walking with her new cast. Emma complained that she had a very unfortunate workout and had injured her neck, so she was having trouble looking sideways. And Tina said she had fallen from her bike and had hurt her arm. One of the teachers was lying. Can you tell who? It was Janet. She claimed she was having difficulty walking with her cast, but she didn't even have crutches. She must be the one lying.
Bella is planning a workshop for hairdressers. She needs a model with natural hair color. Bella gets messages from 3 candidates, Kelly, Shelly, and Sally. She looks through their social media and finds out that only one of these ladies didn't lie. Can you guess who has natural hair color? Kelly has gray roots, so she dyes her hair. Shelly has yellow blonde hair. It looks pretty natural, but it proves nothing. Meanwhile, Sally has red hair. And she has family pictures that show that her parents and siblings have the same hair color. So, Bella should choose Sally. The next day, Bella goes hiking with her friends, Jeff and Kim. They're hanging out on a high rock. Can you spot who's in danger? Bella is blindfolded and she's approaching a cliff break. Jeff is digging with a shovel, but there are electrical wires underneath. And Kim is just trying to feed a squirrel, but everyone is in danger. Bella can fall down, Jeff can get electrocuted, and the squirrel can bite Kim. Bella enters a cave to take some pictures, but suddenly an earthquake occurs. The exit is now blocked with stones. Bella looks around and finds 3 passages leading outside. There's a hungry wolf inside the first tunnel. The second passage is filled with toxic mushrooms. Just one bite can be fatal for any human. And inside the third tunnel, there's a water-filled tank with a shark. Which way is more or less safe? Bella should choose the second passage. The mushrooms are only dangerous when eaten. No one is forcing Bella to eat them. Bella is walking back home and sees a lonely dog on a playground. One of these guys is its owner. Can you guess who? The dog belongs to the second guy. He's skimming a newspaper to be able to look after his dog. Also, he's holding a collar that matches the dog's size. Meanwhile, another man is scrolling his feed on the phone and pays no attention at all. Bella arrives at work. She's been trying to open the door leading to her office, but it's locked. Someone changed the 4-number combination. Can you help her crack the passcode? There's the word hide written next to the door. If we replace each letter with its serial number in the alphabet, we'll get the code 8945. Bella opens the beauty salon, looks around, and spots 3 weird things about this place. Can you see them too? The mirror doesn't reflect reality. There's a spoon in this box of combs, and this unplugged hairdryer is working. Bella hears weird sounds from the street. She looks out the window and sees 2 women and 1 man arguing. One of the ladies is his wife. Can you guess who? The man and the lady in a yellow shirt have matching rings. Therefore, she's his wife. 3 clients arrive at the beauty salon and ask for old-fashioned hairstyles. Bella takes a look at them and spots a ghost right away. What about you? The first lady is dressed up as a ghost, but she's wearing jeans underneath her costume, so she's probably an actress. The third lady looks like an ordinary person with conservative tastes. But take a closer look at the second lady's feet. They don't touch the floor, so she's the ghost. Bella goes to the nearest store to buy some food for lunch. She sees 3 women in a line. Only one of them is a mother. Can you guess who? The first woman has a cart full of goods including diapers, but the size is big, so they're for elderly people. The third lady is buying fireworks, soda, and red cups. But it proves nothing. She's probably just going to throw a party. Meanwhile, the second lady has a stain on her dress and she looks pretty sleepy, so she's a mother. Bella moves on to the next store. There's a line with 3 customers, and one of them is a thief. Can you guess who? The third guy is wearing an oversized sweater, but he's innocent. Meanwhile, the second guy in a hoodie hid the stolen goods in his hood. The next morning, Bella wakes up in an abandoned house. A creepy voice says,
I'll set you free if you guess the password correctly.
"Can you help her escape?" Take a look at the letters on the wall. We can rearrange them into a dream house. Bella is meeting her best friend Kyle in a restaurant. He's about to introduce her to his future wife, Nellie. But Nellie has a twin sister, Kelly, who's also attending the dinner. Can you help Bella figure out which lady is Kyle's fiancée, Nellie? The twins look exactly the same, but Nellie has a heart-shaped necklace. Bella is watching the videos of her favorite travel bloggers. One of these guys is a millionaire, while the other one is broke. Can you guess who is who? The first guy is broke. He photoshopped himself into this picture on the beach. The palm trees have shadows directed to the left. Meanwhile, his own shadow is directed to the right. Why would a millionaire fake his vacation? Today, Bella's beauty salon celebrates its 5th birthday. She invited a lot of friends, including her boyfriend, Tim. Before the event, she calls Bella, saying,
I'm at work, but I promise to be at the party at 9 o'clock.
Tim comes over in 9 hours and 3 minutes. He brings pretty flowers and chocolates. But Bella bursts into tears because she's very mad. Why? Bella was expecting her boyfriend to arrive at 9 p.m., but he came at 9 a.m. the next morning. 2 ladies show up at Bella's beauty salon. One of them is super rich. Can you guess who? The second lady is a bag designer. The first lady is wearing her brand. So, the second one must be really rich. Bella is attending Kyle's wedding. All of his friends show up looking rich and fabulous. Mike has a bunch of expensive gadgets. Chuck is wearing a brandy suit. And Lily is driving an exclusive sports car. But only one of them is really rich. Can you guess who? Take a closer look at Chuck's suit. He didn't remove the price tag, so he's probably planning on returning it after the wedding. This fancy sports car doesn't belong to Lily. It's rented. Therefore, Mike is the richest person here. There are too many guests at the wedding for such a small cake. But Bella manages to grab a slice. She puts a plate with her cake on a table and leaves for 5 minutes to wash her hands. Then she comes back and sees an empty plate. Bella questions 3 guests. Alice says, "I've been dancing non-stop for the last 2 hours. I didn't eat anything." Chuck says, "It wasn't me who ate the cake. I'm on a sugar-free diet. But I guess it was Alice. I don't trust her." Lily says, "I didn't touch your cake. I was helping the bride braid her hair." Who's lying? Take a closer look at the bride's hairstyle. She doesn't have any braids. Therefore, Lily's story is fake. The wedding is going well, but at some point the bride notices that her diamond ring is missing. The robber manages to escape from the wedding, and he's hiding nearby. Can you spot him? He's over here. The next morning, Bella arrives at her beauty salon. Oh no! Someone stained the walls with paint. Bella finds 3 suspects and questions them. Molly replies, "I spent the last 3 days in another state at my parents' house. You can ask them if you don't believe me." Kelly says, "Yesterday I stayed here after closing to dye my hair. Sheila was helping me with my black roots. But then we left." And Sheila says, "Yesterday I was feeling sick and left earlier. The walls were fine." Who's lying? Kelly. She said she dyed her black roots, but they're still there.
Sarah is a PhD student at UTC. She lives in a big house with 4 other students from her program. One Friday night, she went out for coffee, and when she returned home, she found her super expensive laptop was missing. It had her top-notch research in it. She suspected that one of her housemates might have stolen it, so she decided to conduct an investigation. Alex, the oldest of them all, said he had been working in his room all day long and that he had been so focused on his work that he didn't see or hear anything out of the ordinary. Ben, who was one of Sarah's best friends, said he had been watching TV in the living room while she went out and hadn't seen anyone go in or out of the house. And Chloe, Sarah's apprentice, said she had gone out for groceries about the same time Sarah had gone out for coffee. After hearing all of them out, Sarah knew immediately who had stolen her laptop. Can you guess who did it? It was Chloe. She said she had gone out for groceries. But Ben was in the living room the entire time and didn't see anyone leave the house. She probably stole it to see the secret things Sarah had been working on. It's a rainy morning in New York City, and 3 influencers are waiting for a cab in the rain. One of them is in Brooklyn Heights, the other is in Chelsea, and the last one is in Bushwick. Take a look at the image. Can you tell who is going to get wet first? It's definitely the one who is in Bushwick. See how the rain is coming from behind her? That umbrella is not going to help very much. A group of friends were backpacking through Europe during the summer. During the last week of their trip, they decided to go to Italy. They spent the morning visiting ancient ruins, and by lunchtime, they were ready for some pasta. They sat down at a local restaurant and ate delicious Italian food. But when it was time to pay the bill, they noticed their wallets were missing. Since they didn't have money to pay for their meal, the restaurant owner called the police. As soon as the police arrived, they questioned each one of the travelers. "I remember seeing Alice with her wallet before we left the hostel," Emily said. Well, I did have my wallet with me, but it might have fallen in the last Uber drive we took to get here, Alice said. I'm sure I had my wallet with me when I got to the restaurant, but I just can't seem to find it now, Jake said. My wallet was in the bag the whole time, but I just noticed someone opened it and left it open, Lily said. The police officer wasn't sure whether the group of travelers was telling the truth, so he asked to see the restaurant security footage. Take a look at the image. Is the group of friends lying or telling the truth? They were telling the truth. Look at that suspicious guy that entered the restaurant. He pretended to be a waiter to get close to the table. But he stole all of the travelers' wallets. Yike! We're talking a master pickpocket here. A small town only has 3 detectives. Since they all claim to be the best detective in town, the mayor came up with the ultimate challenge to determine once and for all who is the best. On that evening's TV announcement, the mayor said, "My cat Whiskers just went missing today, and I need the best detective to find him within 24 hours." The town's detectives, Toby, Juan, and Chloe, got to work immediately. Each of them adopted a different investigation method. Toby thought it was best to interview the mayor's neighbors to see where they had last seen Whiskers. Juan searched the town's main open public areas, such as the parks and playgrounds. And Chloe decided to follow the thin trail of cat fur and footprints starting from the mayor's place. Can you guess who found Whiskers first? It was Chloe. By following the trail left behind by the cat, she found Whiskers a few miles away from the house and won the title of the best detective in town. Liam was a famous engineer working at Gentech Corp. He had recently won an award for inventing an AI-driven robot assistant. One day, he arrived at work and found that his highly secured lab door was open and his robot was missing. His lab was protected by high-tech security devices, so he knew the person who broke in knew what they were doing. He accessed his computer logs and found a sequence of numbers that looked out of place. The numbers were 12, 9, 6, and 5. At the bottom of the page, a 4-spaced box appeared, asking for a key. He tried typing the numbers in, but they didn't work. He reflected upon them for a while and realized they were hiding an encrypted message. He discovered that the numbers translated into a word. Can you figure out what the message was hiding? Liam understood that the numbers were referring to a letter of the alphabet. The 12th letter is the letter L, and the 9th letter is the letter I. So, the sequence makes up the word LIFE, which is pronounced life. He inserted the word LIFE into the box at the bottom of his computer, and 4 different videos opened up on his screen. Each one of the videos showed a different location. The first video showed a park right next to Liam's office building. The second video showed an electric car shop. The third video showed Liam's living room, and the last video showed a theme park. Liam guessed that these images were a clue to where his robot might be. Can you help him choose the most likely place where the robot could be? If you look closely, the robot's legs appear in the first video. Liam headed down to the park, hoping to find his robot assistant. As soon as he arrived, he saw the robot sitting on the park bench alone. Liam looked extremely confused. He went up to the robot and asked it how it managed to escape the lab. It said it would only answer Liam if he correctly guessed what phrase was hidden in this enigmatic image. Can you help Liam figure it out? Oh, this sure is a clever robot. The phrase hidden in this image is, "I have my own life." I guess this AI robot was asking for some space of his own, huh? The robot finally admitted he escaped from the lab by himself. Liam was shocked because this was not programmed at all. When he tried entering a command to make his assistant follow him back to the lab, the robot multiplied into two other virtual robots. Liam wasn't paying attention at the moment, so he got confused as to which one was the original robot. Can you tell? It's the third one on the right. See how the sun reflects on its metal, but not on the other ones? Meanwhile, it was Johnny's 7th birthday, and the family decided to celebrate with a picnic at the park. The entire family was there, including the two dogs, Luke and Obi-Wan. During a game of throw and catch, Luke went missing. The family searched the nearby woods but couldn't find their pet. That's when they decided to call the police office. The police listened attentively to each family member's account. The dad said that he had seen Luke chase a squirrel deeper into the woods. Mom said she had heard Luke barking from the riverbank. Emma, Johnny's sister, said she had heard Luke barking from the meadow. Ethan, Johnny's older brother, said he could have sworn seeing Luke head toward the park's old bridge. Based on each one of the family members' accounts, where should the police officer look for the dog first? He should start at the old bridge. Ethan was the only one who gave a specific direction to where the dog might have headed, so that's probably the police's best guess for now. Oh look, there's Luke. He has a unique bark. Darth, Darth. Daniel needed to visit his relatives in another city, so he boarded a train leaving from the railway station in his town. Not far from the station, there was a rather long tunnel. The train left the station and started to accelerate. Daniel's main problem was that he was a bit claustrophobic. What is the best place for him to sit? Daniel should sit at the back of the train. This way, he will spend minimum time inside the tunnel since the train is accelerating and moving faster and faster. Now let's say you have a bedsheet that is 50 inches long on each side, and you need to create 50 handkerchiefs with each side 1 inch long. It takes you 1 minute to cut out a 1-inch handkerchief. How long will it take you to cut 50 handkerchiefs? "49 minutes. When you finish the 49th handkerchief, you'll be left with one more piece of fabric you won't need to cut out." Lena, Allison, and Jenny are 3 daughters of mathematician George. When someone asks George about the ages of his daughters, he replies, "The current age of my daughters is prime. Also, the difference between their ages is also prime. So, how old are the girls?" Lena is 2, Allison is 5, and Jenny is 7. Their age difference is always a prime number. 7 minus 2 is 5. 7 minus 5 is 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. 7 criminals robbed a bank and hid the coins they got at a deserted factory. They decided to divide the money equally the next morning. But two greedy robbers wanted to deceive the others. They went to the factory at night and tried to divide the coins equally between them. But one coin was left. So they called another robber and decided to divide the amount equally among the three of them. Sadly, one coin was left again. The same thing happened when they called the fourth, fifth, and sixth robbers. Only when the seventh robber arrived in the morning did they manage to divide the coins equally. How many coins were there in total? There were 301 coins. This number can't be divided by 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 evenly. At the same time, 301 can be perfectly divided by 7. Now, look at these two ladies performing on the stage. Both of them have to do dangerous tricks. But can you figure out which of them is in real danger? It's the girl with the snake. This is a venomous snake. Someone replaced the harmless snake the girl had to use in her performance with this dangerous reptile. See that box with the warning sign the snake was taken from? The other girl is safe. Even though the skirt seems to be burning uncontrollably, she's holding a special spray to extinguish the fire. On a tropical vacation, 4 friends decided to go snorkeling. Each friend spotted a different marine creature: a sea turtle, a clownfish, a starfish, and a jellyfish. Can you match each of the friends with the marine creature they spotted if Emma didn't see the sea turtle, Liam spotted the jellyfish, Olivia didn't see the clownfish, Jack saw the starfish? Emma spotted the clownfish, Liam saw the jellyfish, Olivia spotted the sea turtle, and Jack saw the starfish. After marveling at amazing sea creatures, our 4 friends rented 4 different watercraft: a kayak, a paddleboard, a jet ski, and a sailboat. Can you match each of the friends with the watercraft they rented based on these clues? Emma didn't rent the kayak or the sailboat. Liam rented the jet ski. Olivia was choosing between the paddleboard and the sailboat. Jack didn't rent the sailboat. Emma rented the paddleboat. Liam rented the jet ski. Olivia rented the sailboat, and Jack rented the kayak. So, I have keys but can't open any locks. I have a flat surface, but you can't stand on it. What am I? I'm a map. A system error caused the change in David's net banking password. To sort this out, he called customer care. This is the conversation he had with the assistant. David, my password has changed. Custom care executive, we have kept your password distinct this time. It has 8 letters, out of which 3 letters are the same as previous. David, okay, thanks. Can you determine the old and the new password of David's net banking account? The original password was changed, and the new password given by the custom care executive is distinct. In the 22nd century, robots live among people, and it's nothing out of the ordinary. But sometimes, they resemble people so much it makes the detective work way harder. Like this time. Eric Blank, an experienced police officer, has to figure out which of the 3 suspects is guilty of identity theft. He knows for sure the culprit is a robot, but who isn't human? It's the girl in the middle. She has a USB port on the side of her neck. There is a wide field of corn. A goose finds its way into the field and starts running. Can you figure out up to which point the goose can run into the field? The goose can only run till the middle of the field. After that, it'll actually be running out of the field. Look at these 9 marbles and the way they're arranged. Can you move just 2 marbles to form a square? It can be done this way. Marta's shoes were all green except 2, all red except 2, and all pink except 2. How many shoes did Marta have? Just 3, 1 of each color. Janet had a dream. She wanted to become her professor's assistant. He was a famous and talented scientist. The man knew she was a smart girl, but before offering her the position, he decided to test her. The professor took her to a house with 2 rooms. They were completely isolated from each other. In one room, there were 3 switches. In the other room, there were 3 light bulbs. Janet had to stay in the room with the switches. She was allowed to go to the other room only once. She had to understand which switch was connected to each of the bulbs. The girl managed to solve this task. How did she do it? She turned on the first switch and waited for a minute. Then she turned it off. After that, she flipped the second switch and went inside the room with the bulbs. One of the bulbs was on. It was the one connected to the second switch. Janet touched the remaining bulbs. The warm one was connected to the first switch, and the cold one was linked to the third switch. You've drawn a long line. How can you make it even longer without touching it? You need to draw another shorter line nearby. In this case, the first one will be longer than the second one. I have 6 faces and 21 eyes, and still I can't see. What am I? I'm a dice. An empty bus arrived at a bus stop, and 15 people entered. At the next stop, 10 passengers left the bus, and 5 people fewer than at the first stop entered. After the third stop, 15 people left the bus. How many people are still inside? Only one person, the driver. Detectives have been trying to catch 2 infamous bank robbers for several years, and finally, after another robbery, they managed to capture one of the criminals. Police officers interrogated him for 2 days, but he said nothing about the stolen money or his accomplices' whereabouts. Still, in the next 24 hours, the detectives managed to find the place where the money was hidden. It was a small house in the suburbs. In its basement, there was a man who seemed very excited to see the police. He said he had been trapped in the house already for a week. Nobody visited him, and he was starting to run out of food. That's why he was so happy to read the good news in the paper. The police officers immediately realized he was the accomplice they had been looking for. How? If he was trapped in the basement, how could he get a hold of fresh newspapers? Uh-huh.
It's Lily's birthday, and Leah offered to treat her to a spa day. They arrived at the marvelous Pink Lotus Boutique Spa for their day of treatment and were sent to different rooms. One of the women received a text on their phone saying, "Be careful. Take a look at the image. Can you tell which friend is in danger?" It's Lily. The drink on that waiter's tray is definitely poisoned. She should get out of that place as fast as she can. Hello. Jonah woke up in a different timeline. Normally, he was a straight A student, but in this reality, he was a pretty bad student. His teacher put him in detention to see if his grades would get any better. During detention time, he had to solve some puzzles. For each puzzle he solved, he got points that would help him raise his grade. His first task was to find the difference between both images. He only had a few seconds, though. Can you help? Yep, that one on the right didn't have the scribble on the paper. For his next detention challenge, Jonah had to spot the difference between these two rabbits riding a motorcycle. Don't ask too many questions, just help him out. Yep, it was the helmet all along. Dana is a swimming champion preparing for her competition on Monday. 24 hours before the big day, she disappears. Nobody can find her. Her mother calls the police and asks them to investigate the crime, and they come up with 3 suspects. All of them are swimmers. Hannah says she hasn't spoken to Dana since their last practice. Ashley explains that she invited Dana for lunch on Saturday, but Dana refused because she was getting her hair done for the competition. And Melanie says that she spoke to Dana the night before. Dana told her that she was feeling anxious before the race. One of the swimmers is lying. Who is it? I mean, it's definitely Ashley. It doesn't make sense for a swimmer to get her hair done before a swimming match. It will get wet anyways. Daniel is a sailor on a large cruise ship. One day the captain asked him to go to the ship's lowest deck and get some supplies. But as the man was walking down the ladder, it broke and he fell down. Try as he might, he couldn't get out. And oh no! The situation was worse than he thought. There was a hole on the ship's hulk, and water was starting to fill the lower decks. Take a look around. Is there anything Daniel can do to save himself? Yep, he could put on a life jacket and wait for the water to fill the lower deck. He will simply float upwards, and then he can climb up those stairs again. I mean, if that ship doesn't go all Titanic, right?
Yeah!
Amelie was exploring her grandmother's closet when she came across something spectacular. A time machine. She set the date back to the 16th century and pressed go. She spent the day exploring a local market, but people kept looking at her differently. One man came up to her and said he knew she was a time traveler. He locked her in his basement and said he was going to look for where she hid the time machine. Amelie was so frustrated she got caught and was afraid she might never go back to her real life. That's when she saw that the basement had an old piano. Do you have any clue how Amelie can use that piano to escape? That's a tricky one, but she should play it until she finds the right key. You decided you needed to go on an adventure, so you packed your backpack and went hiking the Appalachian Trail. The thing is, since this was your first hike ever, you planned poorly. Your water only lasted for a day, and you needed a refill. There are 4 sources of water before you: a pond, a lake, a juicy cactus, and a stream. Which one should you drink water from? Most cacti are toxic, so you should keep away from them. The waters from the pond and the lake are stagnant water, so this means they could be filled with stuff that isn't good for you. So that leaves the stream water. Way to go, you. Oh, yeah. It's getting rather late, and you realize you're lost in the middle of the forest. Your phone's GPS is not working, and you're standing at a fork in the road. You can choose between 4 roads leading north, south, west, or east. The path that heads north will lead you to a black hole. The road that leads south goes through a lake full of huge whale sharks. The one that leads east passes through a crater-sized hole. And the one that leads west will take you to a sky-high mountain that is impossible to climb over. Which way will you choose? You should head south. Whale sharks pose no threat to people, and it's probably not true that they exist inside that lake. I mean, they are sea creatures. Harry has spent the last 2 weeks in Egypt exploring ancient pyramids. He's an archaeologist, and he was looking for some groundbreaking discoveries on the history of the mummies. Inside one of the pyramids, he found a secret chamber. Written on this chamber's walls was this: if one can answer correctly, an ancient secret will be revealed. And right below this, Harry found a riddle. The next answer that should escape your lips should be the creature wrapped up in cloth strips. Can you guess what Harry should answer? Mummy! He should simply say the word mummy. Tom escaped from prison by digging a long tunnel in the floor of his cell. He had been crawling through the underground tunnel for 3 hours when he saw that the main tunnel was divided into 3 smaller ones. The first tunnel was on fire. The second tunnel was home to a nest of venomous snakes, and the third tunnel was filled with explosives. Which tunnel should Tom take to continue his prison break? He should choose the tunnel with fire. He can put the fire out with the dust from the ground and make his way to freedom. Yeah! Sierra wanted to go to her favorite band's concert, but she didn't have enough money to buy the tickets. Her local radio station was putting on a contest, and the winner would get tickets to the show. All she had to do was answer their riddle correctly. She called the radio station, and they asked her, "Every night I'm told what to do, and each morning I do what I'm told. But I still can't escape your scold. What am I?" Sierra won the tickets. Can you guess what she answered? The correct answer is an alarm clock. Sounds just about right, doesn't it? Amy woke up on an estranged island. She looked everywhere for something that could help her escape and found nothing. In the following days, she continued to look for something that could give her some direction, and came across 3 torn pieces of paper that could be joined to make one. She put everything together and managed to escape the island by water, using no other resources than the things she found. Can you figure out how she managed to do that? This one is tricky. Nothing was the name of the boat she found abandoned on the island. Ooh. Then she found torn pieces of paper that together made up a map. The map helped to guide her to the nearest inhabited island, and the boat helped her get out by water. Yes! Mirabelle walked into her father's deli and asked for a sandwich to go. When she looked to her right, she noticed something extremely out of the ordinary. Take a look at this image. Can you tell what it was? Turtle is hiding under the counter. This sure isn't normal. Loki is hiking in a chanted forest. Suddenly, he gets into a magic trap. A wicked wizard, whose name is Olaf, offers him a deal. "I'll set you free if you manage to crack all my riddles. First of all, organize these objects in order of invention." Olaf shows Loki a wheel, a lighter, a vase, a bow, and a light bulb. Can you help him put them into the correct positions? The bow is the oldest invention. Then goes the wheel, the ancient Greek vase, and the light bulb. And finally, the lighter. Next, Olaf shows Loki 2 pictures of his favorite fairy. Can you spot 3 differences between them? Here they are. The next task for Loki is to guess a word. Even when it passes in front of the sun, it doesn't cast a shadow. What is it? Wind. Olaf shows Loki a table with magic potions and ingredients. He marked all the ingredients with the colors that they create when added to the potion. Loki has to guess which ingredients were not used in these 3 potions. Can you help him? We need red and yellow for the orange potion. For the blue one, dark blue and white. And for the dark green potion, we need green and black. So the extra ingredient is the pink one.
Yeah!
Loki cracks the riddle, and Olaf asks the next question. What stones will you never find in a river? Do you have any clue? Dry stones. The next task for Loki is to serve the wizard's girlfriends. Roxanne says, I don't want my cocktail to have any yellow fruits or berries. Sabrina says, I want my drink to have an ingredient that starts from the first letter of my name. And Cassandra says, I don't want any green or red ingredients in my drink. There are 3 cocktails in the fridge at the moment. Can you help Loki distribute the drinks among the ladies? The second cocktail is yellow, so it doesn't have anything red or green. It's for Roxanne. The first one is for Sabrina, because it has strawberries. And the third drink is a blueberry milkshake, so it fits Roxanne's order.
Oh, yeah.
Olaf is satisfied with Loki's intelligence, and he offers him a job.
Yeah!
Loki agrees and becomes the wizard's assistant.
Yeah!
His first task is to clean the kitchen.
Okay.
Meanwhile, Olaf goes into the woods to collect some herbs. He comes across a toxic swamp and immediately gets sick. He needs a special potion. So Olaf sends Loki a letter with his crow. I need your help. Here are several recipes. Don't go anywhere. Prepare 1 potion and send it to me with the crow. Which potion should Loki make? Can you help him? Olaf says that Loki shouldn't go out, which means he can only use the ingredients that they have in the house. So Loki can't cook the first and the third potion. As for the second one, all the necessary ingredients are in her kitchen. Olaf gets better, but he still needs to stay in bed. So he sends Loki to the pet shop. The task is to buy a new cat. Olaf wants it to look like the cat that lived with him before. It must have green eyes and a 1-color tail. Also, it shouldn't have any black wool. And it shouldn't be tabby. Can you help Loki find the right cat for Olaf? Only this cutie meets all the requirements. The next day, Olaf sends Loki to a wild beach to collect some rare magic seaweeds. Suddenly, Loki sees a group of beautiful ladies standing on the shore. He wants to approach, but the ladies notice Loki and begin to move in the opposite direction. Loki runs after them on the sand along the water, but he can't catch up. Then Loki looks around and realizes that he was chasing fairies. How did he know? Loki ran after those ladies on the sand, but he can only see his own footprints. The fairies were flying. Loki dives under the water to collect the seaweed. He sees a little mermaid there. Then he floats to the surface and dives again. Can you spot 3 differences under the sea? Here they are. Olaf's daughter, Salma, is a talented young witch. She likes getting into trouble. And this time, she was put in jail. Loki comes to the police station to rescue her. He pays bail, and the police officer is going to release Salma. One of these ladies is about to be free. Can you guess who? Take a closer look at the photo in his hand. Salma has brown eyes, so he should release the second prisoner. Loki and Salma should go back to the wizard's house, but the enchanted forest has many unexpected surprises. There are 3 possible routes they can take. There's a fire-breathing dragon sleeping in the first passage. There's a young magician hanging out on the second road. He hates all women, and he turns them into stones every time he meets them. And the third road runs through a toxic lake. Breathing its vapor is fatal for any living being. Which way is more or less safe? The guys can take the second route. Salma isn't just a woman, she's a witch, so she can deflect the black magic. The guys keep on walking and see an amusement park. The owner is very upset. Someone has stolen many tickets from the register. Loki offers to investigate this case. First of all, he looks through the footage. He's sure that the thief is still in the park. He questions 3 suspects. Billy says, "I rode the carousel and I got very sick, so I wouldn't ride anything else, even for free." Miles says, "I'm celebrating my 17th birthday today. My friends and I rode the roller coaster 3 times, and now it's time to go home." And Jessica says, "I only visit the Ferris wheel. It's my favorite." Miles has tricked Loki. He's too young for the roller coaster. There's a sign. People under 18 years of age can't ride it. Loki and Salma continue on their way and find 3 apple trees. Salma wants to pick some apples for a magic punch, but only one of the trees is safe. Can you guess which one? All the footsteps are leading to the first tree, but not a single animal walked away from it, so it probably has some hidden danger. There are some creepy runes on the trunk of the second tree, so it's probably cursed. Therefore, they should choose the third tree. The guys are picking the apples and putting them in Salma's hat, and suddenly they meet someone very curious. Crack this rebus if you want to know who. A bear. The guys run away from the bear and hide in a cave. Luckily, Salma managed to collect 14 apples before the escape, because they met 7 hungry gnomes inside the cave. They demand payment for the shelter. How can Salma divide the fruits among the gnomes so that each gnome could get an equal amount of oranges? It's impossible because Salma doesn't have any oranges, only apples. Finally, Loki and Salma return to Olaf's house. Loki takes a look at the porch and says, "Wait a minute, something has changed since I last saw this porch. Look, I have a picture. Can you spot all the changes?" The runes at the door are now reflected. The plant from this pot is gone. The curtains have changed color, and the number of candles is different. Loki enters the house and finds Olaf unconscious on the floor. Someone put a sleeping spell on him and stole his magic tools. Loki interrogates 3 suspects among Olaf's neighbors. Cassandra says, "I just got home from a pumpkin festival. Everyone can verify my words." Ambrose says, "I've been retreating and meditating in my basement for a week. I have no idea who did it." And Roxane says, "It wasn't me, but I guess it was Cassandra. She's just jealous that Olaf decided to date me." Who did it? Take a closer look at the witch's cauldron in Ambrose's house. There's an engraving saying Olaf's property, so he's the thief.
Well, today, you'll need to be as attentive as you've probably never been. To crack these riddles, you'll have to pay attention to every little detail and try to figure out what is important and what's not. Are you ready?
Yeah.
A student has failed his test and came to his teacher asking how he could improve his marks. The teacher replied, "If you manage to solve my riddle, I'll give you a better mark. You have a cardboard box. It's easier to lift from a wooden floor than from a steel table. What's in the box?" The student thought for a while and answered correctly. What did he say? The box is filled with magnets. Look at these triangles. Which number should be in the last one? It should be 3. To get this answer, you need to subtract the left number from the upper number and multiply the result by the number in the bottom right corner. Now, both of these watches seem perfectly fine, but only at first glance, because one of them is real while the other is just a toy. Can you figure out which is which? The watch on the left is just a toy. Have you noticed that the minute hand is too long to pass around the watch's face while moving? Your task is to separate these trees in such a way that there are 5 rows with 4 trees in each row. How can you do it? That's the best way to fulfill this task. A dangerous criminal managed to escape from the police. He got a job in a wealthy mansion. When the detectives arrived there, they found out that 3 men had been hired recently. They questioned each of them. Michael, the cook, told the police he'd been working in a restaurant before. But then the restaurant went out of business and he found a new job. John, the gardener, answered he had always been interested in plants. After finishing garden design courses, he landed this job. And Robert, the security guard, said his father was the house owner's friend. He helped Robert get his position. Who's the criminal? It's the cook. If you were attentive, you probably noticed that before the police came, he had been trying to make an omelet, but it was full of eggshells. A real cook would have never made such a mistake. Take a look at this picture attentively. A few things are wrong here, but to make your task more complicated, I won't tell you how many mistakes you can find. If you found 3 mistakes, congratulations. Yes, this clock is all messed up. June only has 30 days. And the shoes the girl is wearing are from different pairs. How about this next image? Can you find any mistakes here? There are even more mistakes in this image, 5 in total. First of all, carrots don't grow this way. This thing looks like a fridge, but there are brooms inside. This man has probably failed to decide whether he's going out or staying inside. Look at his shoes. The armchair is missing one of its legs, and the woman is using a lawnmower instead of a vacuum cleaner. How about this? At first sight, perfectly normal breakfast. What's wrong with it? It's the kettle. In a regular electric kettle, max is at the top and min is at the bottom, not vice versa. Duh! It's definitely not the best time to be waiting for a bus. Anyway, can you spot anything weird in this image? The girl in the red dress is perfectly dry, but she doesn't have an umbrella and it's pouring with rain. Now, Sherlock, you need to figure out what's wrong with this picture. It's the river. Where does it disappear after going under the bridge? Something important was stolen from a mansion, and there were two suspects, the cook and the gardener. The gardener said that he had been working in the garden all day, but had gone to call firefighters when he had smelled something that had been burning. The cook, on the other hand, said that she had been working in the kitchen all morning. Who is lying? The cook is a liar. Take a look at that cake on the table. The cook must have left the kitchen at some point for it to burn so badly. Now look at these animals attentively. Which is the odd one? It's this kangaroo. It's the only creature whose name doesn't start with C. Melissa stayed late at work one evening. When she was walking home, it was already dark. Suddenly, she noticed a group of people. They were moving in a strange, jerky way, coming closer and closer. With growing horror, Melissa realized that the approaching people were actually zombies. In the next moment, she got surrounded. Interestingly, the next day, the girl was in the kitchen making a vegetable salad. How is it possible? Look at the calendar hanging on the wall. It's November the 1st. It was Halloween the day before, and zombies were just some dressed-up people. Jerry got a job as a security guard at a supermarket. On his first day, he heard an alarm go off when a young woman was leaving the store. He stopped her and asked whether she had a receipt. She did, so Jerry checked it and the girl's bag. Everything looked okay, but the guy still called the police. Why? Look, the date on the receipt is wrong. It's different from the one on the screen over the entrance. The girl had bought all the products the day before and then came the next day to steal the same stuff. A wealthy businessman was poisoned at a restaurant. When the police arrived, they questioned all the other visitors who were there at that time. Albert said he had been talking on the phone with his brother. Judy told the police she had been waiting in a bathroom line. Diana said she had been writing a report for her boss. And Philip said he had been putting on his clothes, ready to leave. Who is the culprit? It's Judy.
Oh, no.
Besides her, there were only 3 other visitors in the restaurant, and all of them were busy. There couldn't be any people waiting to use the bathroom. It's something that comes with a train, leaves with a train, but is of no use to a train. And yet, no train can go without it. What is it? It's noise. Andrew and his friend Kenneth went to the beach to have some fun. Andrew started to play volleyball with Gary, a guy they met there. After the game was over, Andrew went to a beach bar and ordered a lemonade. But after drinking it, he almost immediately fell sick and lost consciousness. Kenneth called an ambulance and his friend was taken to a hospital. There, it was discovered Andrew had been poisoned. The police questioned the suspects. Kenneth said, "I'm sure the barman put something in Andrew's drink." The barman exclaimed, "Why would I poison my customer? It was probably the guy he played volleyball with. He lost the game and wanted to get revenge." Gary said, "After we finished playing, I went for a swim in the sea. I didn't even know Andrew had been taken to a hospital." Can you figure out who poisoned Andrew? It was the barman. He lied about Gary losing the game to frame the guy. Two girls, Tina and Betty, got lost in the forest. After some time, each of them found a clearing with lots of berries growing there. At that moment, the girls had been starving. They decided to snack on the berries. But for one of them, it's going to be a grave mistake. Which girl is that? Betty is eating berries from endangered plants. She's not supposed to do it, but they won't make her sick. On the other hand, Tina is munching on berries that have bought the farm for a bird, and it ain't coming back. It means they might be poisonous for the girl, too. It's too risky to eat them. Put them down, Tina, and walk away. Ah, good girl.
Hey Brightsider, are you ready to give your brain a good shake? Then you're in the right place.
Yeah.
Ryan was a famous artist. Unfortunately, he was 60. He had an accident that left him blind. The man hired 3 people to help him. Jason was his driver, Laura was the housekeeper, and Timothy looked after the garden. One afternoon, Timothy went to talk to Ryan and found the artist on the floor. Someone had attacked him. The man was taken to a hospital immediately, and the police arrived to investigate the case. Jason told them he and Ryan had had a great time in the morning playing computer games. Then he left to pick up Ryan's daughter from the airport. Laura said she'd spent all day in the kitchen cooking dinner. And Timothy said that before finding Ryan, he'd been at the market choosing new fruit trees for the garden. Who was behind the attack? It was Jason. Ryan was blind and couldn't play computer games. Kenneth, a newbie police officer, was walking along the street, proudly wearing his uniform. Suddenly, a pretty girl rushed towards him. "Help!" she screamed. "I've been mugged!" After Kenneth made her calm down, the girl told him her story. "I was walking home from college when a man ran up to me. He hit me in the eye and took all my jewelry and money." When Kenneth heard this, he immediately realized the girl was lying. How? The girl was wearing glasses. If the criminal had hit her in the eye, her glasses would have been shattered. Brian's friends invited him to spend the summer vacation in Europe with them. Unfortunately, the guy had serious problems with his studies. To punish him, his dad took away his passport and locked it in a safe. The only way for Brian to get his documents and have some fun was to crack the code. When he snuck into his dad's study, he saw a piece of paper stuck to the safe. There were 3 drawings on it: a rose, a rainbow, a calico cat, and a banana. Brian thought for a while, then pressed 4 numbers. The code was correct, and the safe opened. Which numbers were they? Two, 7, 3, 1. Each digit corresponds to the number of colors of the objects in the picture. Betty was on cloud 9 after two guys asked her out, but she felt she couldn't give hope to both of them. She had to choose one. Stephen was her secret crush. He was from a rich family, handsome and smart. She'd been dreaming about him for a year. John was a good guy too. She knew for sure he was kind and funny. The girl was at a loss. Which one should she pick? Any ideas? Betty should go for John. Stephen isn't serious about her. He has a lipstick mark on his neck. Look at this picture. Who, in your opinion, is from the future? It's that blonde man with a beard. Do you see he's carrying a flashlight? How about these pictures? Who's a time traveler here? It's the man in the third image. He's carrying his produce in a plastic bag. See? A real Viking is hiding among these soccer fans. Can you spot him? It's that red-bearded man in the left corner. Who's a time traveler in this image? It's the woman wearing a yellow skirt. She has wooden shoes on. If it's not a fashion statement, then she's definitely from the past. How about these guys? One of them is from the future. Can you figure out which one? It's the guy on the left. A smartphone is lying next to his hand. But look at the computer he's using. At that time, there were no smartphones yet. The next image is for you. Your task is to figure out who is from the past. It's this lady in a blue dress. Have you noticed a bag where she probably has some coins on her waist? These people look very, shall I say, ancient? But one of them is just pretending. He's actually from the future. Who is it? It's the man on the left. He's holding a blueprint of an aircraft. Okay, now try to use all your attention skills. Which painting is fake? It's the one in the middle. A painter from 1957 couldn't know anything about smartphones. These three vampires all claim that they're real, but two of them are imposters. Your task is to expose them. Look, there's a mirror behind the vampire on the left, and he does get reflected in it. As for the one in the middle, where are his fangs? So, only the vampire on the right is the real thing. Which of these people isn't very smart? The man is most likely making a mistake. He's gonna feed his cat with dog food. Look at this picture very, very attentively. There are a few mistakes here, but to make this task harder, I won't tell you how many. Try to figure it out on your own. For one thing, there's a car in the painting hanging on the wall, and it definitely looks out of place there. Then, the man seems to be using a banana as a phone. And oh boy, he must really be a very absent-minded guy. He's also wearing different slippers. We've got 3 people here. They all seem to be unwell, but one of them is only pretending. Can you figure out who it is? It's the guy on the right. His phone is in his right pocket. He must have used his right arm to put it there, but it's broken. How is it possible? Look at these people attentively. One of these guys is the baby's father. Can you figure out which one it is? It's the guy on the right. The baby has his eyes. Mark and Liza had been dating for 2 years. One day, the guy came to his girlfriend's house. He was going to propose to her, but when he made it there, he found Liza with another man. Mark was furious. The other guy got scared and rushed out of the house. Liza was shouting that it was her brother, but Mark knew better. Unfortunately, he hadn't seen the guy's face clearly. When he ran outside, he saw 3 men. Which one is Liza's lover? It's the guy on the left. It's freezing outside, and the other 2 guys have red cheeks and noses. But the third guy's face is pale, because he just left a warm house. One day, Mr. Martin called the police. His car had been stolen right from the street outside his house. The police questioned 3 suspects. Eric, a teenager who lived next door, said he had been at school and had seen nothing suspicious. Amy, a young artist renting a house across the street, had been too engrossed in her work to pay attention to her surroundings. But Mr. Brandon, an elderly man whose house was next to Amy's, accused Eric of taking the car. Mr. Brandon was having his breakfast when he saw the teenager get into the vehicle and drive off. Strangely, after his words, the police officers arrested the elderly man. Why? Everything Mr. Brandon could see out of his window during breakfast was his tall brick fence. A famous pop singer, Anthony Black, was attacked after his concert. He was taken to a hospital. The police questioned several of his fans. Linda was crying. "I took Anthony's autograph and couldn't wait to boast to my friends about it." Lisa said, "I asked Mr. Black to sign his photo. After I got it, I went to buy a coffee." And Jason said, "Anthony was super nice and friendly. I didn't notice anything strange." The police immediately arrested the fan who seemed suspicious. Who was it? It was Lisa. The autograph on the photo looks different from the singer's real signature.